What's up, everybody? This is Big Swiss, and I'm here with a special reaction from last week's Holy Smoke 24. And I am here with my good friend Luc DiMarzio. We got to hang out all weekend and watch the show together as we did last year. And I said, bro, we got to do a reaction together. And he decided to hop on. How you doing today, Luc?
I'm doing good, man. Hey, if you're gonna say you're a friend of mine, you got to be able to say my last name right.
Did I not say it right? It's DiMarzio, right?
DiMarzio.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just giving you crap though. It's okay. It
I'm
happens
leaving
all the
that in
time.
the edit.
That's hilarious.
DiMarzio.
There we
Oh,
go.
man. Yeah, I put the Z before the R. This is the Kamala scenario for you right here.
That's
Keeping it
hilarious.
relevant. Hey, so this was
That's
the
great.
second time we went to smoke. We hung out again pretty much the whole time,
Yep.
which was fun.
Yep.
Man, we had a lot of feedback, and I thought, hey, I would love to just sit and chat with you about your takeaways and for the viewers out there that went or missed it, we're going to do a pretty comprehensive breakdown. What did we like? What did we think there was opportunities on? What were some observations we saw that we could help maybe like speak into or at least offer our opinions on? And then what would we love for like the ultimate smoke fest next year? And so, yeah, what did you think went really well off the top? Like, I would love to start with some praise.
Man, the coolest thing is that people showed up. So, like you said, we've gone 2 years in a row. Last year, I thought there was quite a few people there last year, but this year it was like it felt like twice as many. I know it wasn't twice as many, but people showed up, man. And it wasn't only fans that showed up. I felt like artists within CHH saw that this was a place to be, and they made it a point to be there. I thought that was freaking cool. Yeah,
Yeah, like hanging out with Alcott again and the TLS guys. That was great. Hanging out with Jared, like I've been wanting to hang out with him for a while. So
yeah,
that was really fun. And then yeah, I even saw Madison Ryan Ward showed up at one point. Like she made like a quick
yeah.
appearance in. Ty Brazel showed up. He did a little quick set on there. Who else was like a random show up?
It was cool seeing Kiwi Morse there. Coop and Swayze were there,
Oh, I
and
didn't see Coop.
yeah, and
I was looking for him too. I was
I,
like, he was here last year.
I hung out with Jonah Daniel for a few hours
Oh,
the
nice.
last night.
Nice.
He's cool. He's someone that people should know, but they don't know. But he's really cool, and yeah, there's quite a few people there, man. It was really really cool.
Yeah, I thought just like the similar setup was nice in the sense that like there was space to move around and like not like if you
Yeah,
wanted to be in the middle of the crowd you could, but if you wanted to kind of hang back and chill you could. And if again, like they had the same venue, so like I knew where I was going all day.
right.
um but yeah, I thought
What's
I
funny?
love that
Oh,
location.
sorry. Yeah, the
No, what were you gonna
location
say?
is great. What's funny is I was going to say I got a media pass, and so I was technically allowed to go all the way up front where they had it barricaded, but I never went up there because all of the artists I wanted to hang out with were in the back, and I get a little anxiety being around that many people anyway. So I'd rather just hang out in the back where I can come and go as I please.
I understand. I definitely understand that. Especially like as I get older, the less I want to be around that many people. So,
Yeah,
which is an interesting thing to realize in my older age. But because I remember in my 20s, I would have been that kid like fighting for the front row, jumping up and down and moshing all day. Like I would have
totally,
been that guy, right? And
totally.
so it's interesting to look at. Like I've been to like 300 plus shows in my life. Like I'm a
Yeah,
concert junkie, and it's interesting
me
to see
too.
like I remember being that guy and now like liking being the guy in the back, where
Yep.
it's just interesting. I love the venue. I love the location. It's right next to Martin's Barbecue, which has the third best brisket I've had. And then my buddy and we got a hotel at the Holiday Inn across the street, so it's like we just walked
Cool.
across the street every day. There was a little bodega in that hotel. It was awesome. Uh, Also, shout out to an air conditioned venue. Like I know they've done that the last 3 years. Even when I went to Atlanta, it was air conditioned. But like that's so clutch. Like I don't think people realize how clutch that is, because I've been to ACL in Austin and it is not fun outside. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
thought the
think what.
service in the cafe was great. They have the
Yep.
cafe right there. That's where kind of everyone congregates. But even with people congregating, they moved the line fast. They were very friendly. They were efficient. Like it's really hard to pull off a cafe that can do that well, and I think they do it well.
Yeah. Let's talk about the sets. Like, what were your like? What were the sets that stood out to you the most?
Uh, I think kicking off each year with 20 with Shua last year and this year. I'm like tired of Shua starting off, but I think that Shua is an amazing performer. Like he's
Yeah.
elite performer, man. The vocals are great. He interacts with the crowd well. He warms everybody up. It actually brings everybody in and forces people to listen, which I think is really cool for the very first act. It's a little different for a hip hop show, you know. But
Yep.
I really appreciated that. Um, also, some others. I know you missed Futuristic set. I
I
thought he was
did.
great. I mean, it's evident that he's been in the hip hop scene for years, and he's just a very polished performer. And so he was great engaging with the crowd. He kind of explained where he's at in his life and explained, what his journey with God has been like. I thought that was really cool. And people kind of accepted that and like they were willing to listen to what he had to say. And and also because he's where he's at, I feel like he was able to reflect kind of where his album was in human form. Like it's cool to like be able to visualize, oh, this is actually how he is now. Because I remember, like he just seemed like token rapper before, with whatever kind of lyrics and stuff. There's a little more deeper stuff going on in his life now, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, you actually
I
kicked me that
always
album before the festival, and I was like, I'll listen to that later. And I was gonna try and listen to it on the way out, but I didn't. And then I missed his set, and you're like, I got the vinyl. You should go get the vinyl. And I was like, you know what? Like, if you're recommending it, I'll go get it. And I walked straight up to him. I was like, hey man, I haven't listened to your album, and I missed your set. I'm buying your vinyl. I'm gonna listen to it first on vinyl. What do I need to know about the album? And like he sat there and talked to me for like 15 minutes about like what his life went through, what's on the album. So I still haven't listened to it yet. I'll probably listen to it this weekend, but I'm really excited to
yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah, that's cool. And then I'll let you get to the ones you like the best, but I also wanted to point out John Keith. He's an amazing performer. I think he's just great in person. Uh, Actually, I prefer him live over listening to his albums. The
I
way that
agree.
he sells what he's saying is so different from everybody else. I really, really enjoy watching John Keith.
Not only that, like the craft of his live performance has improved year over year, in my opinion. Like going back to Holy Smoke 22 in Atlanta, I remember actually being somewhat disappointed in his performance that day because, like, he was still using background vocals a lot. If I remember right, I could be wrong on that, so don't kill me, John. Uh, I just remember him getting like frustrated with the crowd for not being as hype as he wanted them to be. I remember that very specifically. I'm like, hey man, if the crowd's not hype, that's on you. It's not on us. Uh, but now he doesn't need like now the crowd's hype because he's got his performance down. In my opinion, like he's got his set, he's got his visuals, he's created this Eremos universe. And yeah, I agree. I thought his set was definitely a highlight of the weekend, and it was last year too. I think last year I said it was my favorite set. This year,
Speaking of visuals, I thought the visuals throughout the whole weekend were amazing. And so I don't know
when
who
they were
did all of
working,
them. I know Elias. Yeah, I know Elias and Jimmy Rock did a lot of them. And so I actually was texting Jimmy. I was like, dude, these visuals you did are amazing. And he's like, dude, I've never even seen them in person, but thank you. But
yeah,
yeah, it was cool. I thought it all worked out really well. The visuals did.
yeah. I thought Deal stole the show, which is appropriate. He's been working on his live performance. I got to see him in Nashville in March for his Unplugged, so I wasn't expecting the live band again. And it was a different band than his live band at the Unplugged, and I wasn't expecting the background vocalists and whatnot. But his set with the visuals and the song order was literal perfection to me. And I came in thinking, like, if I'm being honest, I came in thinking, like, man, I've seen him twice this year. This is the third time I'm seeing him. Like, what's going to be different, and it was completely different. And so that like kind of exceeded my expectations. And he's reaching a level of quality that I think every artist should be looking at and should be like studying how he does it, because he's on another level right now. I mean, I thought his set was better than Andy's. I thought it was the best set. Loved the visuals. I even loved how he did Closer, and that one of the background vocalists did the chorus for him. I've never seen that when he plays. I've seen him perform that song probably 10 times. And that was probably the best version I've seen of it. So yeah, I just love that. I was also saying, because that was the start of his tour, and he's coming to Dallas in October, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to go see No Big Deal 4 times in a year. Like, that's stalker level behavior. But after seeing that set, I think I'm going to get tickets because I want to see that set again. Like, it was that good. So I want to go.
That's
and
like
then
a stalker thing, but I guess I'm okay with being a stalker.
I'll put it as like I'm media, like it's what I do. And also, I got to get in as many concerts as I can in the next 9 months. So I should just go anyway. But also, I thought Eclesso was big. So that's another reason why I want to go to that show. I thought Eclesso's set was great. And so he's on that tour as well. So I'm like, man, I'll go just to see Eclesso, John Keith, and No Big Deal. Like, my top 3 acts of the weekend, I'm gonna not go see them if they come to my town. That's foolish. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go to that. I also thought Arkham Knights, even though it was a 15-minute set, I thought it was incredible. Like, I'm like, whoa, you guys needed like a 30-minute set. Like, the energy they had,
That's cool.
the way they built off of last year, also the way that they practiced their back and forth, even on stage, I thought was incredible. Bats and Aaron Dews are criminally underrated for some reason. Like, the fact that they got a 15-minute set, I'm like, what? That was weird. I thought 350 shined this weekend. Not necessarily just for his solo set, but I felt like he carried that Heaven on Earth set. Like, he carried it for me.
He was everywhere. So
Bodega,
he went
yep.
crazy with the Heaven on Earth stuff, and then he was in the Bodega set too. And then for his personal set, he chose to bring it in and do like all serious stuff, which I thought was an amazing move. Like,
Yep.
I don't have to go crazy. He's like, I have this other side to me too, and he's like, and I want to make music that I'm proud to show my kids, kind of thing. And he like had his kid there watching him. It was so stinking good.
Yeah,
So good.
he should get a medal. Like, if this was an Olympic sport, he medaled this weekend for sure. And then this one's a hot take. Maybe it's not a hot take, but he only got about 5 minutes of stage time. But Gavin the Hot Rod, from the Cypher and to his Bodega appearance, there's something about, like, I've been listening to Gavin since 2019. I've been on this guy. Like, I'm like, man, how are people not blowing him up right now? And seeing him on stage, I'm like, dude, he's like a monster. He like turns into a character on stage, and I loved every second of it. I thought the way that him, Selah, and Drew carrying that cipher the way they did, I thought was momentum. We'll talk about that in opportunities, actually. But if it wasn't for them, I think that night ends right there. And then I thought, obviously, Andy Mineo and KB
what I
did
told
it.
Gavin. Oh, sorry. I was going to say one more thing about Gavin. I'm sorry. I went up to him and I said, "Hey, man, I know that going into this weekend, probably not a lot of these people knew who you were, and you took every moment to make sure they didn't forget you. You seized the moment this weekend. Great job." That's what I told him.
That's a great way of saying that.
Yeah, it was. He seriously, like, anytime he was on stage, he shined. It was amazing.
Yeah, I actually got like a second to chat with him because, he had announced that he was going to stop making music like a year ago. And I was like, hey, like, I thought you were dropping off. Like, what's going on? And he and I ended up having like a really good conversation. So not only am I a fan of his music, I just like the guy now. Like, I just like Gavin. Like, he's a cool dude. So I like that.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Andy's set? Andy was kind of like the final closer. They did the Magic and Bird set. They released some new songs. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, so I had never seen KB or Andy up until this show. So I
didn't know you hadn't seen
this is my
KB.
first time.
Oh yeah, you told me
these
that.
guys.
Yeah.
Dude, CHH doesn't go to the West Coast, and so like I've had very minimal opportunities to see them, and so I thought both of them killed it. I thought Andy probably took it between those two. I just think his charisma on stage, the way he interacts with the crowd, his sense of humor, bringing out words played and doing the Magic and Bird stuff was crazy. Even when he came out on stage, did the Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff was hilarious. I've seen that on Instagram that he does that already, but I thought it was all great. It was a great show. It was a great way to end. Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was of course, like, he's the biggest artist there that weekend, so it made sense to end with him.
yeah. I want to use so before I don't know how I want to do this, but I guess I'll go back to KB real quick. But I agree. I thought KB's speech on like the state of hip hop and like the whole like they should be asking us like if they're jealous. I'm like, bro, in the middle of it, I have to record what he's saying, even though I missed half of it. Like he's saying something really
Right,
important right now that this room is going to hear, but the rest of our community needs to hear because of just the
right, right.
conversations we have. And he was going off the whole like some people say Christian hip hop's corny. Like that was the thing. And you know me,
Yeah,
like I hate that statement. I think it's the stupidest statement any Christian should
right,
ever make. Like, no one's going to heaven, and
right.
Jesus is going to be like, "Hey, really loved everything you did, but man, that was some corny Christian music." Like, that's just not going to happen. And so, I think for us to make that judgment on earth is just like, "Hey, you should keep that to yourself." Like, you know. But that's my
Yeah,
opinion. Anyways, I
that's
agree.
good.
I thought Andy's set was the best. However, my criticism of Andy's, I want to go into opportunities now. My criticism is this dude says might drop a part two, no announcement. This would have been the mic drop of all mic drop events if they released the album that day. Like we would have lost our minds. The internet would have exploded. I don't know. That's my take on it. That might be a hot take.
No, that would have been cool. Yeah. Yeah, bring
Uh,
Wordplay out and then say something like, "Hey, scan this QR code real quick," and then it brings you to like the artist page, and Magic and Bird just dropped or something. Even if they
yeah,
want to
or
put it on even or something, everybody could just pay $5 right then to get it. I don't know. They need to do something. Yeah,
that would have like everyone would have had FOMO. It would make everyone think I have to go next year. Like I guarantee if they did that, Indie Tribe would have had to find a different venue to go to because they wouldn't have enough people. I think my gain is really high. I wouldn't have enough. They wouldn't have enough room to fill as many people that would get there. In my opinion, you know what I mean? Like if that was a reoccurring event where there's like a shadow drop every year, like from the stage, like what Tori did, like, hey, I got my album. Come up to me, I'll give it to you. Like what?
yeah,
Like you should be doing that. But yeah, let's talk about let's roll into opportunities now. So I think we did a good job praising what went well, what was fun, what was cool. There was also a few swings and misses. And I want to be
yeah,
constructive here, but I think the first thing off of the top is the production crew they hired was not on it. Uh, I don't know what happened,
nope,
but it all kind of fell apart at the worst time it could happen, and it was right at the Indie Tribe set.
yep. I think actually I'd say both super groups struggled with their sets because of audio production. And it was just a huge distraction. I could see that the artists were struggling to just keep going because the show has to go on. But man, what a bummer, man. And that just uh and like we said, like we were talking earlier, but before we got on, we're standing in the back next to all our other artists, and they're all looking around, everybody's looking around like, what the heck is happening? And during the Indie Tribe set, that should not be happening. That is like, these are the people that are putting on the whole festival. They should have had the best set. It was preposterous. It was crazy.
Yeah, I felt bad. I could tell they were upset, but I thought that they like played it off really well on stage, but I would not have wanted to be on the other side of a phone call or a conversation at the end of the night after that. But yeah, like you said, the show had to go on. Even when I saw Michael in the VIP after party, like I could read that dude's face. Like he was not happy. And so I had heard that they switched production crews, or like certain people were not there this year that were there last year.
It was
I don't know if
evident
that's
that something
true.
changed because they didn't have any problems last year. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that was kind of a sour moment. It was unfortunate to happen on their set. I thought the power went out in the Cypher too. That was like, and that was after Indie Tribe and KB went on. So you're kind of already in like this, what's going on? Is everything broken? Like what's going on? And then the power goes out and you're just like, all right, I'm going home. And if it wasn't for Selah being like, no, we'll go a cappella. And like him, young Drew, and Gavin coming in and spitting their like verses for the Cypher, I think they like saved that night for a lot of people. So
If the power doesn't go out, does Gavin? If the power doesn't go out, does Gavin still have such a crazy verse?
I don't know,
I
man. I
would
can't get
submit
that
not,
airplane.
and I think that
I
even
can't.
if but I don't think everybody's picking up on his lines if he has to do that to a beat. You know what I'm saying? Like he slowed it down and he spelled it out for everyone to be on with him, and he's so good at projecting his voice. I think that was a moment set up right for him. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair,
It
because I
was pretty
couldn't hear
crazy.
Selah's verse, and I had to
Right.
go back and rewatch the tape of Abel's to even get everything that he said. You know what I mean? So he got to do it over the beat, and I had to rewatch the tape to try and catch everything because I couldn't catch it all with the beat. So I think that room is not made well for speakers. Like there's too much echo in there. They need to just kill the speakers, and I think they keep doing it in the other room. Just clear everyone out, do a reset. Do it in the middle of the floor or something. You know, I don't think you do it in the skate room.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my take.
Yeah.
I thought this is a weird nitpicky thing. When every artist kept asking, "Are y'all ready?" I'm like, "Yes, I've been standing here for 10 hours. I'm nothing but ready. I've been waiting for this all day." Like, in fact, I'm getting ready to go home if you don't start. And so, yes, I'm ready for you to go. Quit delaying, go it up. So artists, if you're asking people if they're ready, yes, they're ready. Like I know that's kind of like a pre-programmed hype message, but for someone who like spent all the money to go out, you know, is standing up 12 hours a day to watch all these artists, like, yes, I'm ready. And so then when they're like, y'all look tired, you know what? I am tired. I've been here for 12 hours and I didn't sleep that great last night because we were here till 12:30. And so it's like, yeah, I am tired. I'm also 40. So if you're talking to us, the 20-year-olds, they're probably tired too. I don't know.
You're hilarious. One question, going back to what we were talking about before, though, one question I wanted to ask is the VIP after party worth it? I don't know. I hope this is to be constructive, but because like I love going there, the Cypher is amazing, and I like being there for the Pass the Aux because I got to leak all the stuff on Rapzilla before everybody else. But if I'm going next year and just going to do the same thing, I probably won't.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that they figure out something that they can change about it or make it seem more unique for the VIPs. I don't know what it could be, but maybe need to reimagine that a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think I remember the first year that I went in Atlanta, they did it at a coffee shop and it was super cool. I loved it. It was very intimate. It was a tight room. It was kind of hot because there was like, 150 people in this small coffee shop. But all the audio was great. Had no problems. This is in like this huge skate park with tons of echo. There's not really anywhere to sit. You've been standing all day. Everyone's trying to sit somewhere, and if you remember last year, it kind of ended sourly as well. Sorry to call out the boy Mitch, but like last year's Cypher wasn't great. This year the power outage went out. And so it's kind of like y'all need to figure something different out for next year. And if you are going to do a cipher, you know, I think Michael does a good job of picking people this year to like come and bring something really
Totally.
good. I thought every single verse that was delivered was awesome. But yeah, I mean, like, how do you get it to where I'm going to want to go watch a cipher after I just watched 6 hours of rappers? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's just a question that won't be answered.
Here's another thing. I think we're going to get to this later too, is, you know, they're figuring it out. They're starting to realize, oh, this is a destination now. Like Holy Smoke is like people are putting that on their calendars every year kind of thing. And so I think they'll figure out like how to maneuver through that. But yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
call
that's the
out.
crazy thing. So my my wife and I, we loved last year so much that when we found out the date for Holy Smoke 24, and it was the weekend of our kid's 11th birthday, we are like, oh, we're going to Holy Smoke, and we're just going to move their birthday party the next week. And so we bought our tickets to go to Holy Smoke on Black Friday 2023. And we're like, this is what we're doing the weekend of our kid's 11th birthday. So it was that important for us. Like, we loved it so much last year.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point. I mean, I did the same. Like I did it the year before. Actually, I remember the year before I tried to get Black Friday tickets, but I was like in like a mountain somewhere and had terrible service and it never connected, but ended up going anyway, obviously. But yeah, like I'm expecting this Black Friday for another VIP ticket announcement to get the first few sales going, right? Whether
Yep.
I go or not, I'm not sure that next year. So I think I'm mostly because I'll be a new dad. We'll have like a 4-month-old at that time. I'm probably not leaving the house to come. But you know, you never know. Maybe the wife surprises me on my birthday and says, I got you Smoke Fest tickets. I want you to go. Babe, if you're watching this, I don't even know if you watch my videos. There's an idea for my birthday this year. Sometimes she's like, I watched your video. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you watched them. But anyways, my other criticism is they need to get some seats. Get some bleachers in the back. I don't need more merch tables in the back. Like, give us something.
Yeah.
Like my feet were killing me. Like my feet hurt. Both years, all 3 years. My feet hurt. My back hurt. Like give us somewhere other than the cafe. Because like I don't mind going and sit in the cafe, but that's at the expense of seeing a set. And I specifically sat out sets
Yeah.
so I could sit. And I don't want to have to choose between the two. Like just give me both. Or if you're going to do that, play the music in the cafe from like, go ahead and get that P in there. I don't need to listen to your podcast that I can't hear. They're doing these podcasts in this room and I can't even tell what they're talking about because it's so loud. And so that's a weird, like, okay, if you're going to film a podcast to put out later,
Yeah.
just put it out later. Like we see it happening. We're going to be like, what's that? Like that's enough for me to want to go seek that content out. I don't need to kind of hear it that's competing with the mute. You know what I mean? It's just it's an unnecessary competition for my attention. And so that would be
Well,
like a
and while we're
nitpick I
talking
would have.
about sitting, I think that there needs to be areas to sit and eat. Like my wife and I, we went back to the car so we could eat our lunch because there was nowhere to sit to eat.
That's actually a really good point. You have that whole vendor area, put some like picnic style benches out there where people could sit and eat, put up some like canopies. If it's too hot and they need shade, they could sit there. Like these are easy wins. Like I'm in like convention mode because I like help project manage a lot of our events at our church that we host like 4,000 people
Yeah,
at.
me too.
I'm like, these are the things that we think through of like, all right, if I'm sitting out here, what would I want? I'd want a canopy. Okay, if I was setting up the food, how would I do it? Okay, I'd want these many lines and so it's just thinking through that kind of stuff where it's like, how are you going to elevate this experience to be an event and not just like a concert, like a standard concert, which we want to talk about.
Yep.
So yeah, give me bleachers, y'all. Give me something. Like there's parents there that want to sit down. Like do it for the parents.
Yep.
Because they're listening too. And then yeah, I think that was. Oh yeah, let's talk about the one that you have on the bottom here. This is the This is, I think, the
Okay.
take that I've heard from attendees too. Like Luke Hop and his brother were talking about this. You and I talked about this last year, but I want to you. The way you phrase it is way better because I come in hot.
I think there's just tons of missed opportunities of artists not hopping on stage to perform their features. So numerous times throughout both days, we would see someone just perform one verse of their song and then move on to the next thing. And then later, the other artist will perform the other verse of that song in their set. Why don't you just work together and just do the song together? It would also make for a better transition from What Up RG to Heaven on Earth. Like, why not just like at the end of RG set, just like the Heaven on Earth guys come out and they just keep going. Like that seems like it seems too easy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Anyway,
I well, you're a performer, and so you have a different take on it. Like my take would be, man, if I just did a 30-minute set, I need a little bit of a break before I go into this super energetic Heaven on Earth set. You know what I mean? Like where I'm jumping around. Even like Not Clyde, when he did his set, he's like, I'm still tired from that Heaven on Earth set. And it's like, yeah, y'all were pretty wild. So I could kind of see it from that, but then
I don't
also
know. I
what,
don't know. Like if I'm doing like a church conference, we have like 9 hours of stuff we're doing. I'm just ready for that. It's on my calendar. I'm planning for that all year. And then
yep,
like I know that when that day comes, at the end of the day, I'm just going to be tired. Yeah, so just you're supposed to be up on stage. You just do the thing and then so what if you're tired afterwards? You gave it your all, just move on.
yeah. Well, and I also had to think about it with Not Clyde's case, who I also thought had a really good set. And actually, too, what I appreciate about Not Clyde's set is I listened to his album on the way home again, like for like the third or fourth time, and it just hit a lot different. I think I like it more after seeing him do it, some of it live, and kind of explain more of it. I was like, I'm in. I've always been a Not Clyde fan. Shout out to Jared Long, who probably doesn't watch my videos either, but he's the one. This guy is not a Christian hip hop guy. He's not a Christian hip hop guy, but I would say like he doesn't know anything, like whatever. But one day he found out I'm this big Christian hip hop nerd. He's like, "Have you heard of Not Clyde?" I was like, "No." He sent me Flock, and I lost my mind. And so now, whenever we're in a conversation and Big Swiss comes up, he's like, "I put you on a Not Clyde." He like wears it as a badge of honor. But shout out to Jared, love that guy. But I think that's a good point because I do a lot of these events too, and as a filmmaker and like a producer, I just expect to be tired. I don't really complain about it. But for like someone like Not Clyde, I don't think Not Clyde is his day job. That's not his job. That's his side hustle. His pastor role is his job. And so I'll give him grace on that, on my own criticism of like y'all should be in shape. But yeah, I also have noticed this same criticism in other Christian hip hop shows. Glory Nights would be an example. I saw What Up RG. I'm trying to think what year it was. If it was this year, I saw the What Up RG No Big Deal KB show, and there was a couple songs where I'm like, well, he's standing right there. Do the verse. Do you think maybe it's because they haven't practiced it together? So like, we don't want to mess it up because we've never done a stage of this song before. Would that be it? Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how hard that is like to I don't know. Like if you know it, if you know the song, I don't understand that. I don't understand. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the answer. I don't understand. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I share your criticism because I make it all the time. I'm like, why aren't you guys doing the song that I could see the artist from where I am? I think I agree. It would be a sick transition. I think I remember turning to someone and be like, it'd be a sick transition right now is if this artist came out, they did that song, and then they started their set. Someone was like, that would be sick. And then when the lights came on, I'm like, man, I feel like this is low hanging fruit. Like no one thought of this.
Right.
No one was like that. Like I'm okay if you do 2 sets in a row and then an intermission. You don't have to have an intermission between every single
Right.
set. I'm okay with like two 15-minute sets back to back or 2 30-minute sets back to back because I'd have to do that at any other concert. Yeah, I don't know.
What else?
Uh, let's talk about sets that were maybe not the best sets. I have a pretty, I made a tweet during the show and a couple people reached out. Which artist inspired that tweet? And I actually don't want to say the artist's name because I think I'd feel a little bit of guilt. But at the same time, I'm like, the artist's voice was way too scratchy. It sounded like they were screeching on the microphone compared to their background vocals. To me, it sounded like the artist was doing a bad karaoke version of their song. It's like, hey, if I could hear your backtracking and your backtracking sounds better than what you sound like on the mic, you need to work on your performance. And if you're out of breath in between each thing, you need to work on your performance. And if you have a dance number set in there and you can't breathe in the middle, you need to work on your dance performance or cut it. Like, it's a rap show. I need you to rely on the lyrics and the delivery, not a dance show. Like, I actually think that's the worst set I have ever seen at any festival in my life. Like, I was actually pissed that was on the stage. Like, that's how bad it was for me.
Yeah, I think that particular artist was just really amped though, and so there's just a lot of emotion coming out. So I can give a
Okay.
little grace with that, but yeah, I dislike tremendously anytime I can hear the backing tracks louder than the artist. I understand too, like you said, I'm a performer. So if you're using floor wedges and you're doing a hip hop show, you probably need to know where you are in the song. And so you have to have the backing tracks in a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
man, maybe it's
Turn
time
them
to move
down.
to ear monitors. I don't know. Or turn them down.
Yeah.
Maybe ear monitors would help though. Yeah.
Explain to people what front wedges are for the uninformed. Explain what a
The floor
monitor is.
wedges. Oh, a monitor is pretty much just a big speaker on the floor so that everybody can hear what's happening. So you can turn up certain things in there for yourself so that you can stay with the music throughout the set. And so um, a lot of people nowadays will have in-ear monitors. That's what I typically use too. I don't remember the last time I used floor wedges actually. But I think that part of the issue with that we were having with audio production for this whole thing was I don't feel like the monitors were really dialed in for everybody perfectly. And so some people
Yep.
were just either too confident or not confident enough. And then it kind of messed everybody up whenever they're all experiencing the same thing at the same time on the stage. And it's interesting because you could tell which artists could hear themselves and which artists couldn't. Like it was that
Yep.
big of a difference between those artists and the ones. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I think it was the most apparent in the Heaven on Earth set when you started seeing them pass the mic around a little bit. I was like, ooh, that's a bad look. So yeah, you have a note here on Sarah Jewers. I miss Sarah Jewers' set, unfortunately, and I'm actually like a really big Sarah Jewers fan. I went up to her afterwards and I said, I didn't tell her I missed your set, but I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, every time I'm like super anxious, Oil is one of the first songs I listen to. That song calms me down all the time, and she was super sweet. She's got such a great personality. She did great at the unplugged set with No Big Deal, so I was excited to see her. But I that was a set I was like, I need to sit, and I'm gonna sacrifice seeing one of my favorite artists because my feet hurt that bad. And I had that boot on, and I took it off because I was like, it's so hard to sit and enjoy the show with the boot on. So I like really needed to sit more on Saturday than Friday. So what did you think about her set?
Yeah, and this isn't feedback on how bad her set was. I thought she was great. Like she's very talented, and her performance was strong. I just felt like the placement of her set where it was in the day didn't make any sense. It went right before Mike LV, and I felt like the juxtaposition there was a little like crazy. Like it didn't feel like that fit. I don't remember who went before her. I'm just trying to recall off the top of my head. I just remember feeling like, oh man, the energy just went way down here. And so then it felt
I
like
think
a
it was
chore for
350 or
Michael to
Futuristic,
bring it
wasn't
back
it?
up out of that. Maybe it was after Futuristic, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just felt like that it took some momentum, wind out of the sails for the day right there in that spot. Not that she was
Yeah,
bad, it was just a strange placement for me.
I mean, she's not a hip hop artist. Like she's just cool with the homies. You know what I mean? And she's an insanely talented singer, songwriter. This is interesting. If you go back and look at my Glory Nights review from 2 years ago, when Deal, it was like No Big Deal. Who else was there? But there was a Christian contemporary band in the middle, and they played in between the hip hop sets. And I remember saying, like, why did you place that there? It totally, again, took the wind out of the sails. The momentum totally shifted. Great performers. In and of itself, the performance was excellent. But like the placement, it felt like watching like really big action movies and then like a rom-com and then back to a big action movie, you know, or like a drama or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just I agree, weird placement. All right, so now I want to get into kind of what would you do? Michael does this every time. Hey, Holy Smoke was great. Who do you want to see next year? I love seeing that tweet every year. It's the list. I'm like, oh yeah, I should have added that on my list. Or, oh, I didn't think about that person. That's a good ad. I just saw AI the Anomaly today tweeted saying like, yo, I heard it was the Joint. I can't miss this next year. And if they don't get her next year, that's a huge miss. Like AI is one of the best lyricists in the game. I would love to see her perform
amazing.
live. Yeah, like she's a top artist. But yeah, what are you doing next year if Luc DiMarzio gets put into a position of like, hey Luke, we want you to run marketing and we want you to run the setup. What are you doing? What are you changing about the weekend?
Oh man. The first thing I thought of, just something to do in the dead space. I thought like, hey man, there's like a bunch of DJs just sitting around here watching. Get somebody up there, like even if it's just DJ Smalls again, like in the dead space, just spin, have some people spin, do something else. Like you got these screens everywhere just sitting black while like they're changing over the stage. Like put something on the screens, make it more like you said. I like the idea that you said putting the music out in the cafe where everybody can hear it. It's more of just like keeping it feeling like something's always happening rather than like, oh, here's a show. Oh, nothing's happening. Up, here's a show. Up, there's nothing. I felt like
Here's the same
need some
commercial we've
like
been showing
fluidity.
you all day.
Yeah. I had a bunch of ideas, and this is like probably not possible, but I'm trying to figure out how, even if we don't do bleachers, I'm wondering how we can make it so people aren't standing as long. And so maybe it's time to add a third day, or maybe it's time to get rid of some artists, only have X amount of artists, and figure out if we're going to do like the supersets or something, maybe do a couple of those so then you can still see more artists, but less time standing. Like 12 hours a day was a lot. So I was trying to figure out if there should be a third day, or if there could be two stages, like if it's a different venue or something, and then there's just constantly artists on both of those stages and people are able to choose between the two. There's a lot of more walking time. That was the thing too. I told my wife, like, hey, I like walking around more than I like just standing. And you know, like if I can't sit, I'd rather just walk. So let's go walk around, because my legs feel better if I'm actually moving. So if there's walking time in between the two stages and people can choose that, and then like I'm like, hey, if we're at a new venue or we're outdoors or whatever it is, maybe there's a third stage, and you could do all of your artist interviews and panels on that throughout the day. I actually went to a Christian music festival a number of years ago, and that's what they did. When the artist got off the main stage, there was another stage that they would go to, and they would answer questions from fans. They would do meet and greets. They would sign stuff.
That's dope.
That's how I met Beautiful Eulogy doing that. I don't remember who else was over there. So stuff like
Shout out
that.
to
But
Braille.
I think it'd be cool. Yeah, Braille, Odd Thomas. Yeah, it's really cool. But those are some of my ideas. I don't even know if that's possible, but like you said, this is if Luke was in charge of something. That's what I would change.
I kind of love this theme of like grumpy old men. Like, can you just give us something to sit down on? Like, I feel like that's the biggest takeaway from this podcast today. So I love that. And we're also like two dudes with beards and glasses. Like, we need to start like a co-brand together, like beards, frames, and hats or something. I don't know. I'll shave my head.
And we're
for it
both
too.
taller than the normal people. We're both taller than normal people.
And we both work in ministry.
Yeah.
Dude, we're like kindred
That's
spirits,
funny.
bro. We're spirit animals, dog. But anyways, yeah. So
How
I have
about
a pretty
you?
long list. I have a pretty long list. So I tweeted this like 2-3 weeks before the event. I said, y'all need to shadow drop every year. And then what did they do? They dropped that Indy 500. So I was pretty happy with that. I think that should be a yearly occurrence, not from just Indie Tribe. I don't think Indie Tribe needs to shadow drop every year, because next year you could shadow drop a John Keith album EP. You could shadow drop a Tory album. You could shadow drop a Bodega like deluxe. Like just some. You have 5 artists. Like you could do it every year. You
Right.
could just get on a
Right.
rotation. And even if you guys don't want to do that, get some no-name artist that you're going to feature to shadow drop, and y'all promote it so that people are like, oh, who Indie Tribe is with this guy? Like, there's shadow drop. What? Like,
Yeah.
that. And I think the best way you do this now, get with me, guys. Sit down. This is going to be the craziest idea. And here's your free marketing advice. If I'm looking at Indie Tribe, they grew from 4. Actually, technically, they grow from 2 to 4 to 5. And so, what if Indie Tribe had 12 members to represent 12 tribes of Israel? And maybe not even every member is technically a member. Maybe heaven on earth is part of Indie Tribe, right? And it's like they're the tribe of Judah, and these are the tribe of Dan, or like do that. Like, and that should be your marketing, is every year you're doing like this cloud of witnesses following the tribes through the wilderness, and like each year you're like adding the new members in, and like you
This
have an
is too
evergreen.
much. This is too.
This is me in my dream world. Let me dream. uh, so yeah, Indie Tribe should be 12 members, and we should get a new member announcement at the end of every smoke fest. Like that would be cool, because everyone would show up just to find out who it is. And then you shadow drop like 3 or 4 songs that feature that artist. So then the shadow drop actually comes after the show versus in front of the show. And so then people get to hear the experience live for the first time. And then they go home with a QR code and the first access to the EP for like 2 weeks. That would be insane. So I'd love that. Yeah, I agree. Have some DJs spinning in the dead spots. I think that's a great idea. There's enough of us out there that would be like, yeah, or get some break dancers, do like a little breakdance thing, or some graph artists that are like doing some murals on the side. Do something to kind of like fill that space to where you're still promoting hip hop, the hip hop culture, in like the cleanest and like most rarest form. And I think too, this would be one, is like, give an artist who put out like an incredible cinematic album experience, like take 350 this year. He dropped one of the best albums of the year. I would have loved to see him perform front to back with a cinematic piece on the background. It's a 25-minute album. Give me a 25-minute 350 set. I'm watching that whole thing, and like you kind of present it as like, and now for the cinematic piece, like it's like make it a special event in the middle of the day that like, hey, you can't miss this. Like this is the only time they're going to perform it this way. Like this is it. Like I would love that experience. And then, yeah, I think those are my biggest ones. But you have one about doing a proper send off, and so how would you handle the send off? You heard how I would do the send off.
I don't know about the send off. I just felt like Andy was great. So it was my first time seeing Andy, and so it was a treat. I thought the whole thing was fun, and like he did all the hits, and then like he's like, "Yeah, this is my last song." He does the last song, and then he just walks off stage, and the lights come up. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I'm not saying we need to go Methodist, where they're like, "For I know the plans I have for you." You know, like I don't know what the proper send off is. It's just I felt like it was kind of like we needed something. It was like last year, not that they have to replicate 2023, but last year Indie Tribe came out and they announced Tory, and then they did Still Holy, and then the lights went up, and then we all left, and that felt like the end of something. Like
Yeah,
this
because
felt
we
like
were all
the end of a
talking on the way
concert.
out, like, that's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
This felt like the end of a concert. And if it's just a concert, then that's cool. They need to figure out, is it a concert or is it an event? And I think we've talked about that a few times in this talk, but I think that they need to figure out, are we making this an event? Is this a destination or is it just a moment? If it's a destination, you got to make the trip worth it. If it's just a moment, then seize the moment. And I guess like we'll see you next year. You know what I'm saying? I would rather it be like a destination. This is the place to be every year. I would rather it be an event. Like this is very special and it's catered towards people that are really into Christian hip hop and building the community, building the culture. Like I feel like this is a spot where stuff like that can happen. They just need to. I feel like this is now their choice to their chance to choose one way or the other. I feel like one way is
Mm.
super easy. They could just make a couple slight tweaks and just make a dope concert next time, or they could like seize the mountain. They could just and do something awesome.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of really good points there. I also thought that in the intermission, right? So here's another opportunity is like day two started late because they had to fix some barriers. We were all sitting in line for a long time. I didn't know what was going on. I had to go ask someone in line. I'm sure somebody came out and gave an announcement at some point, but I didn't hear it. But you need to have an MC to transition that stuff at the intermission. Like someone needs to come out on stage and be like, hey guys, we're going to go in intermission. We know we started late. We're going to have to cut into some of this intermission time to stay on schedule. So we're actually going to resume around this time. Like that would have been, again, low hanging fruit, like stuff that we do at Christian events at the church all the time is we're constantly communicating
Yep.
to the audience what's going to happen. And like, hey, get Luc DiMarzio on stage as your MC who like gets everyone excited in the middle. Like you were saying, if you're not going to get a DJ or break dancers or graph artists, just have someone up there like talking and like, hey guys, what'd you guys think of that? Hey, what interact with the crowd. Hey, what was your favorite song? Like, what did you like? Okay, cool. Hey, are you all ready for the next artist? Hey, Not Clyde's coming up. And then you get to plug your like review of the artist right there, right? Where you're like, hey, did y'all listen to Not
Right.
Clyde's I Love NK? Man, this was my favorite song on it. Like, I really like that the album does this. I'm super excited to see what he does with his set. Are y'all ready? Yeah. Cool. We're going to be going in 5 minutes. So go get your drinks, go to the bathroom. We'll see you up here in a bit. That's like an easy,
Dude,
like,
that's dope. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
call
this is the
call me,
best
call
idea
Luke,
that's
we'll do
come
it.
up in this whole conversation. Yeah. This is the
Yeah,
best
like,
this is the best idea to come up this whole conversation. They need an MC. They need an MC. Yeah.
yeah.
That's
And like, I don't
incredible
expect
actually.
Michael to do it. Like, he's got to save his yelling for his set. Like, and I
Right.
want him to save it for that. So like, get someone like us or whoever's running your podcast in there. Like, he can come out and do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, just get somebody to do it. Just good
Yeah.
hosting.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. So
That's
yeah,
great.
I'd say overall this year was like a B plus for me, where like last year was an A plus. So, I think there was a couple opportunities this year. I'm a little disappointed because I might not be there next year. I might not have a chance to go next year. And so in my head, I was like, I'm really excited for this. This is going to be so good. This lineup's incredible. Oh, I didn't even bring up Trip Lee. Trip Lee, he's the GOAT. Here's how you make it a 3-day event. Actually, now I'm going to go back. You brought up, how do we make it a 3-day event? Instead of getting Trip to perform, get him to preach on Sunday morning. Hey, you're having church with us.
Yeah,
We're
do a
doing
church
church,
service. Do a
and we're
church
ending it
service.
with more
Yeah.
worship, and we end it with a big prayer, like a big huddle prayer, and we're praying for our city, we're praying for our country, we're praying for
Dope.
each other and the
Yes.
artists, and it's this big send off
Yeah,
in a
that's it.
prayer. Bro, go, like, do that. Like,
Holy
that would be
smoke church,
fire.
bro. That would
Yes.
be that's a great idea too.
Take these ideas. I'm
Bro,
hyped
they
up.
should
I
just
don't know.
hire
This
you.
is
You
fun.
got better ideas than me.
Man, so one of the things that we do on our creative team is we have WI meetings. And so we did like Working Genius, which talks about like your working strengths and your working frustrations. And WI is that you can have wonder and invention in there. And so we take those people who have WI and their working genius, we throw them in a room and be like, put all your ideas on the whiteboard. And like, there's no such thing as a bad idea. And that's where I thrive. I'm like, put me in that room. I will give you ideas. They might not all stick. We might not all have resourcing scope or time to do it,
Yeah.
but we're gonna mine from this what we do have resourcing time and scope for, and we're gonna make it the best that it can be. And so like I think they need to get like a focus group in of like guys like us, some other artists, like, hey, get us in a room. Let's like throw some more ideas up, because I want to help make Holy Smoke better. I love these guys. I
Yeah, me
love our
too.
community.
Me too. Me
It's
too.
an infectious room to be in, and I want to be in it every year. So let's make it something that like doesn't feel formulaic and doesn't feel like we're recycling just with new artists. Like make it something where it's like it's special spiritually, not just for vibes.
Yeah. Word. That's
And I'm
good.
not saying that's what they're going for. I'm not trying to like diminish the fun. I'm looking at it from, this is
Yeah.
my third time going. I've enjoyed each one. This one felt like a step back for me, but I still loved it, and I want to come back. And if it's a repeat of this year, I
Yeah.
don't know if I care that I'm not back unless I'm missing AI the Anomaly and Jared Sanders on stage. You know, like that would be a bummer to
Right.
miss those two.
The
But go ahead.
the way I was gonna rate it, I rate everything on a 3-point scale. So you got above the bar, at the bar, below the bar. I thought last year was like monumental. It was above the bar. I don't feel like I've been to a Christian festival that was as good as last year. This year I
Agree.
felt like it was at the bar. I felt like it was status quo. It wasn't
Mm.
bad. It was still probably better than any Christian festival I've been to, but for what I know they can do, it was not. It was not good.
I like that. I like that rating. I guess if I'm going by your rating, what was 3?
Below the bar.
I would say it was below the bar, because when you set a new bar of being a number 3, your 2 is now a 1, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's
That's
almost
fair.
like, you know what I'm like. We do this really weird rating scale at work where every year we do a 5-point scale. A 1 is you are the most important person in this company. We're probably only giving 3 or 4 ones to the whole staff of 200 people. Like
Got it.
you are being sought out. People are trying to steal you from us. Then there's a 2, which is like, you're killing it. We couldn't have done it without you. Like you're an all-star. 3 is you're a Major League Baseball player that's starting on the team. A 4 is, hey, you're on a PIP, you might be losing. And then 5 is like, hey, you're probably not having a job in the next 5 months, right? And so most people get 3s. And because there's like, well, we can only give so many 1s and we can only give so many 2s, so everyone gets a 3. And it's like,
Got it.
well, if I was a 2 last year and I worked harder this year than last year, and you give me a 3 this year, did I not meet the expectation? Like I did more.
Yeah.
And I got a 2
Oh,
last
you
year.
make
So shouldn't
sense.
I at least get a 2? And so that's where I'm going with this, is like, if I'm going by your rating, it's a below expectation, because they did set a bar
Okay.
last year so high that I'm
Okay.
disappointed this year. So it
Yeah.
didn't meet it. And
Yeah.
I hate
Okay.
saying that. I hate saying that, especially on
Right.
camera.
Right.
So yeah, man, Luke, I really appreciate you hopping on and having this. This is so fun. I love getting to hang with you and your wife. I loved hanging out with you. I loved Luke and his brother. I loved seeing TLS and hanging with them. I loved getting to meet Q and Just Right. Q was so fun. That dude is hilarious.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, and y'all live in the same city.
We do. I see him quite a bit. Yeah. We've gotten lunch a couple times. We went and saw Miles Minnick. He was at Miles Minnick show in June here. So I've been around Q a bit. He's actually been to my church, seen me lead worship and stuff like that. So
Nice.
yeah, it's cool.
Next time I'm in Vegas, I'm gonna come watch you sing. I want to see it.
All right. All right.
I still need to review
Yeah.
your rap album.
Oh man. I would love to hear what you would have to say though, man. I really appreciate your ear, but also I'm really proud of that album. That's why I never took it down. I still stand
Yeah.
by everything that I did on there. So yeah.
Sweet. I've been like, do I want to listen to this? Like, do I want to do a reaction to this? That's the only reason I haven't listened to it. Like, I'm
No,
like,
you
if I
should.
do it, I have to do a reaction to it. And I don't know if I want to live react to your album. what
Dude, I'm
what
not trying to
happens if I
force
hate it?
myself, but every time I see Alcott, he reminds me that he likes that. He likes what I did there because I showed that to him. Alcott is like, dude, you need to rap again, and I'm like, nah, I'm not. I don't need to. I'm good. I'm better at
If
promoting
I
other
listen
people than
to
I
it
am
and do that,
myself.
okay, that's fair. That's fair. Hey, I actually talked to Alcott today, and he sent me some track he's working on with C Ford. Have you heard it?
Yeah.
I told him if he doesn't release that in the next month, I'm gonna drive up to Nashville and I'm gonna kick him square in the butt with my boot. Like, that song is fire. Why is he sitting on it?
He sits on everything, though. Yeah, I don't know. We should probably not keep this in the edit. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
keep throwing him
yeah.
under the bus. He could probably beat me up.
Yeah. Hey Luke, thanks for hopping in today. I really appreciate it. If I'm not there next year, the only way I'm there next year is if any tribe says, "Do you want to MC?" I'll be like, "Sure, I'll MC part of it." That would be fun, and I hope you guys enjoy next year if I'm not there, and I'll be vicariously living through your stream next year as I'm holding my newborn baby.
Oh, I appreciate you, Swiss. It's always great to be around you. I just really look up to you figuratively and literally. And
Okay.
I appreciate your ear and your care for people within this community. And so, yeah, until next time.
Yeah, man. Hey, we should really talk about doing the beards, frames, and hats. Like, we need to come up with a clever thing like beanies and snapbacks. So stay tuned for that, you guys. Maybe we'll drop some fun talking show where we're doing nerdy stuff like this all the time. And until next time, y'all have a good one.